Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to my channel, The Makeup Archives. My name is Kim and I love cruelty-free beauty and I dabble in the clean beauty world as well. So today I wanted to showcase a very unique and special brand, Róen Beauty. Róen Beauty is a clean beauty brand and they're one of the more luxurious ones that I've ever actually seen before. They just try and put a little bit more glamour into the clean beauty world, which is very cool to see. So let's get right into swatching. So let's start swatching with the actual product that got me into this brand in the first place, which is the eye toppers. So they have the original disco eye, and they come in components just like this. They look like a single shadow. They have their own mirror on the inside, this tiny little thing. And the original disco eye is more of a champagne type of a shimmer. It is an eyeshadow topper, so it won't have much of any base pigment. That is something to keep in mind. It looks very natural and, well, as natural as sparkle can be, but compared to the summer disco, which you will see very soon. This formula is really unique. You do need to apply a lot of pressure into the pan, especially when you first get it, and it kind of warms it up and works it out so that way you pick up a lot of those like reflex. This shade is sort of like a champagne. You can see there, it's just got such a nice sheen to it. And it also adds a really nice texture to any of the eye looks. This one I just love to apply on top of any eyeshadow that I have, or even just when I have no shadow on my eye but I want to add some sparkle to my look. This is what I use all the time. It works like a dream. These do not crease on me at all because they're not really creamy per se. And you pat them on. Always pat them on. Don't use a brush, use your finger. The next disco eye is their summer version of the disco eye. This one has way more base pigment and a little bit less of that reflect into it, so keep that into consideration. They said with this, it's almost as if having their warm-toned eyeshadow palette mixed with the original disco eye. So it really takes care of two products in one. And I definitely agree with that. It gives off a really nice warm glow to anything that you put on. And yeah, I'll swatch that for you right here. You can see right away, it has way more base pigment. A little bit less shimmer, and I feel like the particles in it are just a bit maybe smoother. So those are the disco eye toppers, one of my favorites, and it's what got me obsessed with Róen Beauty. Now on to the Róen Beauty eyeshadow quads. They come in packaging like this, like a gunmetal, kind of very reflective material. They also include a sort of velvet pouch, which I think is just so cute, just to keep them from getting scratched up in your makeup drawer, I suppose. We're going to start with the 52 Degrees palette. So this is their cool toned palette. You can see there, they're all just super reflective and shiny. One thing that's different about these cream formulas by Róen Beauty is that they all have different formulas per shade per se. One of them will be way creamier, one of them will have a bit more reflex in them, and there's just some minor differences that make them all very unique. Okay, so we have the swatches of the 52 Degrees palette. We have Basque, which is a nice kind of light white gold. We have Rendezvous, which is a really nice plum color, really unique. Then we have Yep, a taupey brown, and my all-time favorite shade is Meow, and it's almost like this gunmetal silver. It's not too icy, it has so much depth to it. Love it so much. The next Róen eyeshadow palette is the 75 Degree Warm palette. As you can tell, it's all warm tones. There are some nice oranges, some golds, and two almost very similar in the pan browns, but they have some different undertones and some different shimmer. Here are the swatches of the 75 Degree Warm palette. So we have the shade Obviously, which is it's a very yellow gold. Then we have Nikki Dust. We have FaceTime. These are the two that look very similar, but they definitely have some differences. They're warm and cool. And last we have J'adore. She's more of like a burnt orange shade. Very pretty. And the last palette, which was released this year by Róen, is called the 1111, which is supposed to give off sort of more of like a fairy tale or ethereal vibe, which I definitely agree with. This, I feel like, has such a nice balance of warm and cool tones, so if you are undecided on which one to get, I would say this is a perfect starter. Here are the swatches of the 1111 palette. So we have Situation, which is one of the most reflective shades I've seen in these palettes. So pretty, like a light rose gold. Then we have Hashtag, which is a very cool tone taupe, I would say. And then we have Chow, a very pinky shade, and Rosy, which is a bit more on the warm side. So that is all of the palettes swatched and ready. So if you'd like to see how I got the look that's on my eyes today, I did use a combination of actually all three of the palettes as well as one of the eye toppers. So just keep on watching. So I have all of my face products applied already, and I'll list everything I used down below in case you're curious. But my eyes are feeling very naked right now, so I just want to create kind of a soft, diffused look with these Róen palettes. I used mostly the 1111 palette today, but I will dip into the cool tone and warm tone palettes as well to build up that color. So first color that I'm going to dip into will be Nikki Dust, this kind of a beigey brown color. It's not too warm for being in the warm palette, but it does have some gold undertones to it. I'm just gonna take that on a brush and just work that into my crease. This just gives more of that diffused look that I was talking about. You won't get much pigment when you use a brush, which is sort of a safe way if you're testing these out for the first time, just to see what tones are gonna look best for you. And yeah, I mean, you can build these up with a brush. You won't get nearly as much of the shimmer, which is the downside of that. Next up, I'm gonna go in and apply Chow from the 1111 palette. This kind of pinkish, kind of mauve color. It's not too cool, it's not too warm, it's pretty neutral. I'm gonna go in and apply that with my finger just to the inner third of my eye. That's where I just want most of the color to be, because we're gonna deepen up the outer corners. And you can just see it's got quite a lot of pigment in there when you use your finger. I will also be blending these all out with the brush at the end just to make sure there's no harsh lines. Now that we have that pigment built up on the inner corner, I'm going to go in with the shade Yep from the Róen Cool 52 Degree palette and put that right onto the outer corners. Again with my finger. I do like patting these ones on that are like really creamy rather than swiping them on. I do find that that just works a little bit better and it keeps that color in place until you blend that out with a brush. I will also be taking the shade Yep just a little bit on my lower lash line, not completely through it, but on the outer third, and then just diffuse that out. When it comes to the lower lash line, be very careful because this stuff is pigmented. Now I will be taking this brush again. There's not much pigment left on it, but we're just gonna blend out those edges just to make them soften up a little bit and make everything look blended. You know, when in doubt, just keep blending. Now that everything has been a bit more blown out and diffused, I'm going to actually tap on more of that pearlescent texture using the shade Situation from the 1111 palette. If that will focus, come on. There we go. So this is more of like a really light, almost rose gold, I would say. Shade, it's very, very pretty. And you can see just right there. Super reflective. So just tapping that on, because this is more of a textured shade, it means it almost has flecks, like a flecks of reflective pearl and of varying sizes, kind of like their eye toppers. Just with a bit more of a base pigment to it. I'm just taking that literally all over the lid. And now to highlight the inner corners, I'm actually going to go in with the Disco Eye. Just really lightly tap that on. Subtle, but it catches the light in such a pretty way. I'm gonna put on some mascara and I'll be right back. Okay, and I'm back. So that was super easy and quick. These shadows just blend like butter. They take no time at all. You can honestly go in with one shade and just kind of diffuse that all over the lid and you would have a very nice look. You could also amp this up with some winged liner and some lashes, but I definitely wanted to keep the focus more so on the shadows and just really let them shine through. But that means you can go really glam or you can go really simple with these, which is great to have that option. One thing to note about these shadows is that they can crease. They are a cream product. They don't set down necessarily on their own to a point where they stay exactly where you've put them, but they do stay very well where you've placed them. They can crease. They do crease on me. I do have pretty like deep set creases, I guess, but that doesn't bother me. They tap out super easily, and I wear these through a whole work day of 8 hours. Get some minor creasing, you just pat them down and then they're fine again. So just keep that in mind. They never claim to be creaseless, just so you know. And in fact, I have seen them state that they think the creasing gives more of an editorial or lived in sort of a look, which I can agree with. It looks pretty chic and maybe just a little bit more luxurious in some type of way, kind of like a model vibe. So that's just preference. That's up to you if you really like that. If that's something that really, really annoys you, that might be something to take into consideration with these. To finish this look, I want to use the new Róen Kiss My Lips Liquid Lip Balm. Quite the name. So I have the shade REMI right here. They describe it as a creamy glossy nude. So yeah, I mean, it's like a glossy beige color. It's got a lot of pigment, but not too much to the point where it just looks like you're putting on lipstick. It still looks pretty nice and natural. They do have 3 shades of this. They have one more that is more in the neutrals, so it is like a dusty rose color, and then they have another that's sort of like a jammy purple berry color, which I'm really interested to try both of those because I have to tell you, this is one of my favorite lip formulas that I've actually ever tried, and I was really skeptical when I saw it at first because when someone says liquid lip balm, all they think is, okay, so it's a gloss. But this stuff is actually more on the zone of being an actual lip balm. It's not sticky, it doesn't feel heavy, but it feels like it has sort of that grip where it's lasting like a normal lip balm, and the color doesn't move around a lot, and it also actually makes my dry lips feel a lot better when I do wear these. So it's kind of got such a unique formula, I can't really compare it to anything, but it's up there. It's one of my new favorites. It lives in my purse. And you could put these on without even looking. Just adds a little hint of color, which is sort of more my vibe. I don't have the largest lips in the world. I don't know, I like bright lips, but there's a time and place, and usually I just prefer more neutral tones on me. So that is the end of this Róen Beauty review. I hope you all enjoyed it or learned a little something about those products. If you have any questions about them that weren't answered in this video, please leave a comment down below and I'll try and help you in any way that I can. So until next time, I hope you all have a great day, evening, morning, whatever you're doing, wherever you are, and I'll see you all again, and thanks for watching.